Yes, guys, welcome back to another episode of Ball Talk with me, Lewis Bryon. And today I'm once again joined by footballer Ken Charles. Ken, how are you, mate?
I'm all good, mate. How are you?
Yes, I'm all good. We'll get straight into it. As I'm sure everyone knows, the Euros are kicking off tomorrow at the time of recording. England are playing on Sunday. So we're going to have a little preview of the whole tournament and also give what we think England should start with. Their first game of the season, their first game of the tournament, sorry. Yeah, so give our starting 11. We're playing Serbia on Sunday. Who would you start in that game? Start from the goalkeeper.
I think, the goalkeeper and the back four kind of picks itself at this moment in time. Obviously, with the goalkeeper, I think Ramsdale's got into a position where Pickford has to play because he's no longer number one at his club. I do think that if he had a full another season at Arsenal number one, there'd be a discussion there. But at the moment, I think Pickford holds that. Hopefully, Stones is fit, obviously.
He was training today.
I didn't think it was bad. The fact that he carried on anyways was a good sign.
I think he was ill. He was ill as well, actually. So It wasn't just a knock. He's been like quarantined in his room. So he was ill, but I think he's obviously got over that.
Yeah, he's important. So it's good to know that he's all good. So him, Gay as two centre backs, Kyle Walker and Trips at the minute. Sure isn't fit, is he? So that's not really, it's not really a discussion there.
If Stones, like, because obviously he's back training. I heard people saying, like the media outlets and the news outlets out there saying they're not sure how much of the training session he's going to do because he has literally been ill as well. So if he can't play that first game, is that a concern? Do you think Serbia? I mean, they've got Mitrovic
against Serbia. It shouldn't be a concern. That's the thing, though. It's like, obviously, we need him back, but at the same time, if for whatever reason he's like not 100%, it could be a game that you say, you know what, let's let him we need him for the tournament. If England can't beat Serbia without Stones, then they should forget about the whole tournament. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's not trying to disrespect Serbia. It's just one player shouldn't stop you from beating a team like that. So hopefully he's back. But if not, then the job should be able to get done. He's needed more for the tournament as a whole, as opposed to Sunday.
So back four. Who did you say?
I said Walker, Gay, Stones, and Trippier.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's sort of picked itself in it really with injuries and, like you said, form with other players. Midfield three. This is where it starts to get debatable.
This is where there's a lot of things you can do, and it's all linked with the forwards as well. Like who you pick in midfield affects the forwards and vice versa. I think the only guaranteed is Rice.
Do you think the only guaranteed Rice? Not you. A lot of people would say Bellingham. I'm not sure how much he's trained.
Sorry, Bellingham's guaranteed as well, but like I'd say where you play Bellingham isn't so guaranteed, if that makes sense. He could play next to Rice or they could free him up like he's been doing this season. Whereas Rice, we know he's probably going to play as England 6. So I'd say Rice, and it's difficult. It's difficult because I was going to say that against the lesser teams, do you need to play 2 pivots or can you play one and release midfielder so you have more forward options? But then maybe that Finland game scares him a bit because of
definitely. For me, mate, it definitely, our team definitely needs to change depending on who we play. It's not like we've got to have the same starting 11 against every team. So let's go for Serbia for now. Yeah, the first game. Who are you playing?
Yeah, I think we didn't. I don't think we created enough. Obviously, we had a couple of chances against Finland, but not like you should be able to create enough to score 2 and 3 and break them down. And that could be to do with the fact that you've got 2 pivots again against, and obviously we didn't have everyone back. But for that reason, I personally would play Rice on his own. I'm trying to see how attacking I'd go.
Like you said, we don't need someone next to Rice for Serbia.
I don't think so, because it would be Gallagher or Trent as another pivot realistically. but is it
Mainu.
necessary? Sorry,
or Mainu.
Or Mainu. Sorry,
Yeah.
But it's like, do we need that for? I don't think we need it for against Serbia. I think we can be very front foot, and that enables you to get one more of the forward options on the pitch.
Yeah.
I'd say get Bellingham in there as an 8.
Yeah.
And get Foden in front of him.
Yeah, that's interesting. For me, I would go Bellingham, Rice obviously as the 6, Bellingham as the 8. This is against Serbia.
Yeah.
And then I'd have Foden as the 10. Or no, sorry, not Foden as the 10.
You'd have
Palmer as the 10 and Foden out on the left, and I'd just let them two interchange. Even Bellingham against Serbia, they can all
That's not a bad choice. And then Saka on the right?
And then you've got that direct pace running behind. I know he does like it to feet, but with Saka, Saka on the right and Kane up front, I feel like it will be better to bring, if that doesn't work, if they do get in each other's space and it's a bit crowded, it will be better to bring someone like a Gordon or an Eze on, rather than have a Gordon start and bring on like a Palmer, even though that could be effective as well.
Yeah, I agree. So for me, it's about getting all these guys on the pitch, though. I think Saka has to be on the pitch.
Yeah.
Foden has to be on the pitch. Obviously, Bellingham, Rice have to be on the pitch. Kane has to be on the pitch. And you would argue Palmer should be in and amongst it. And that's where if you get an extra pivot in there, probably Palmer gets sacrificed in that front forward selection. So I agree. My only difference was I said Foden as the 10 and then Palmer out on the right, Saka out on the left. But
you put Saka on the left.
Sorry, Saka out on the right and Palmer out on the left.
On the left, yeah.
But you said Palmer as a 10 and Foden out on the left.
But them two will just switch.
Them two are good enough to like do each job like interchangeably and whatever. So that was basically my team.
Did you watch the friendly? Sorry, mate. Did you watch the friendly? The most recent one.
Yeah, I watched that one. It was Iceland, so I keep saying.
Yeah. Did you think? I don't know. I wasn't too. I know it was their first game playing together, but Palmer, Foden, sometimes it looked like they were both getting in each other's way.
Yeah.
They looked like they were both looking to do the same thing.
Yeah.
A bit crowded. I don't know. Do you think that can work?
They're both. I don't want to say they're both similar because they're a bit different, but they both have a lot of similar attributes. A lot of their strengths they have to like. Both of them have the same strengths, so it can be an issue. Because when I was thinking of the team, my only question mark was if I went with that midfield and went with, I said Foden as a 10, Saka on the right. Would I go Palmer on the left or would I go Gordon on the left? That was my sort of debate in my head. I don't know if there's a right answer.
I think what people
both be able to work.
Yeah, I think what people like the fans need to realise as well, and not jump on the starting 11 if it's not what I agree with, is there's going to be more than 11 players that play a part in the tournament. Like this, our subs are going to be a big part of this because we've got such a strong squad. Like you said, if it was Palmer to start instead of Gordon, we've got Anthony Gordon coming off the bench when 20, 30 to go when they're leggy. Like he will play a big part, and that's probably he'll probably be coming on when the game's tight and it's 1-1 or we need something special to happen. You come on 20 minutes and score, everyone forgets you're even a sub.
Yeah. Do you remember how many times Rashford did that at the World Cup? Like at least a good two games where he come on and scored. And like it doesn't matter once you've come on and scored. Like it's no longer the sub. You scored. And in big games, that's all that matters. So obviously fans sometimes are reactionary, especially England fans. But Southgate will know, the players will know that this tournament isn't going to be won by 11 players if they're going to win it. It's going to be won by 16, 18 players that all play a key part. It might only be one game someone plays a key part in, but that's the benefits of having such a strong squad. Other teams won't have that opportunity to be able to use their 18th man to win a game. Like England have that in their arsenal. So Southgate it's a headache for him, but it's a good headache for him to have, definitely.
Yeah, it's a good headache, but it is. I said this the other week. I feel like we're quite underprepared compared to recent years in terms of going into a tournament. Yeah, because
I think the team changed a lot.
Yeah, it's changed a lot. And we've got 16, like you said, 16, 18 players who all could play a really big part.
Yeah.
We don't really have the starting 11 that has played together and gelled together. I don't know. It's almost like we don't really know. We know there could be a few options that can really work and can take us to that where we need to go.
Yeah.
But which one is it? And we can't just trial and test it out during a tournament, which is what it looks like we're going to have to do.
I agree. I think so many players done very well recently, and so many players that were initially England starters or whatever didn't, and that's created this situation. The squad's still so strong, but it's like guys like Maguire that were guaranteed starters, guys like Rashford, guys like Grealish, like all these guys, Henderson, they're no longer in the picture. So whereas before it was like, yeah, Henderson will play in there. It's like, right, Henderson's not there anymore. Who's going to play there? We had the centre-back partnership. Gay's kind of come in and impose himself well on that. So that's answered that question. But that's the issue. We've got a lot of positions that in recent tournaments were filled. And right now it's like, okay, the guy that usually played there isn't there anymore. Who's going to play? And they're all good options, like you said, but we don't know. So I don't know how well Southgate knows. That's the thing. He could be much clearer in his head than we are. We could be like, this is the thing with the friendlies. We read into them what we think. He could just be using them as like, let's see what this guy can do. Let's see what this guy can do. But I know what, come Sunday, I know exactly what I really want to play. So, which I guess the team on Sunday will say a lot about what Southgate thinks and who he has as the main guys in each of the positions.
And don't get me wrong, in a tournament, it takes only one game for you to go put 4 past Serbia, and the team's all of a sudden gelled and we're fine.
Yeah, literally.
So we're looking at it because the 2 friendlies weren't very promising. But we'll just go over that. So our team to start against Serbia was, so obviously Pickford in goal, Walker, Stones, if he's fit, Gehi and Trippier, Rice in the 6, then Bellingham sort of the 8 with Palmer or Foden, we said, and then the other one out on the left wing, Saka on the right, Kane up top, yeah?
Yeah.
So, like we said, the team is going to have to change depending on who we're up against. Let's say we get through. I think if we get through if we win our group, or if we come second in our group, we'll have to play the winners of Group A, which is like Germany, basically. So if we come up against a Germany,
I wouldn't play that team against a Germany.
No, you can't. So who are you changing? Because ideally, you'd think there's got to be probably a more defensive-minded midfielder alongside Rice.
Yeah, I'd probably get Gallagher in there. It's not like you've got so many options. That's the thing. Trent's the other person as a midfielder that's been talked about, but we've just spoken about defensive-minded. I don't think in a game against a Germany, he would be the best option defensively. I don't think his defensive discipline is like, I don't think it's as poor as people make it out to be. But if you're trying to make a change with a defensive-minded approach, I wouldn't say he's the go-to. I think Gallagher probably brings out of the options the most discipline and experience. Mainu could as well. I just think he's still very, he's just only got himself to a point where he's playing Premier League football at a good level. And that it's like, would that be a risk? It might not be. But I think Gallagher's proven at tournaments, even though he's still only 23, 24, he has done the job before. He has been fairly consistent for Chelsea this season. So I would say he's probably the safest to play next to Rice in that sort of game. And then that's when the other positions would have to shuffle accordingly. So one of the forwards would be sacrificed in that situation because it wouldn't be Bellingham. Yeah,
you're right. And I think Gallagher is probably the right, like you said, the safest choice in them games to trust to do a job, to put the yards in, to win the tackles, be in the right position defensively. But it's probably not the most exciting for the general casual fans who want to see the young talent like Mainu or want to see an exciting Trent playing midfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the big games when you need to get over the line, Gallagher's probably the one.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah. I said it's in the big games where you just need to get over the line. It's not always about that exciting young talent or whatever. Like I've seen France have done so well in recent tournaments sometimes, and you look at their squad. There's been years where it's absolutely stacked, And there's been years where it's not all that exciting, but they just got good, solid players all around the pitch, and that gets the job done. Like even when we played them at the World Cup that year, the last World Cup, lost in the quarters. They weren't better than us throughout the. You know, if Kane scores that penalty, it's 2-2, and it's an even game. Do you know what I mean? Like, but they kind of just got the job done.
They had the players to get over the line, didn't they?
Yeah, and I remember when they won the World Cup, people were talking about how they weren't playing that nice football and stuff, but they were getting the job done. So that's all it's about. Tournament football: get the job done, be tight, be hard to break down, and have people at the opposite end of the pitch that can hurt. So,
and all you have to do is look at us getting to the final in the Euros last year. Not last year, like the last Euros campaign with Calvin Phillips. No one wanted him to start early on. Everyone was like, "What are we doing?" And he was a very important player for us.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's all. I feel like Gallagher would be a good shout. Could you make a case for Trent? Do you think he's going to play a part in midfield or right back if he plays a part?
Could be a bit of both. Obviously, he is the cover right back, I guess, if Walker needs a rest or Walker's struggling. I think there's a role in there for him in midfield. I think, you know, there's so many, like tournament football, not everyone can just play full 90s for, if you progress all the way 7 games, I think it is. It's you're going to need to rotate, especially them early group games, if you can get a good early lead. So he'll get a chance probably in midfield to come in and you know, show what he can do. And this is the thing, we're saying our team, there's no guarantee that that's how Southgate's thinking. He could start him Sunday. Do you know what I mean? So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think he could have a part to play.
Yeah, I think against like a Serbia, like where we're going to dominate the ball, we should dominate the ball. He could play a part at right back and then almost do the inverted one. So then you don't need that second pivot next to Rice. And it's, you know, you can I don't know. It could even be a case where Walker drops in more like as a back three. Trent goes in as the inverted one, and then you've got all the attacking players to play with.
So
that's probably what I can see happening.
Who gets dropped from the back four then? Trippier, would you say?
No. I think it would set up like if it was to start like that. I don't think it will start. But if let's say it was to come on, I think it'd be almost for one of the centre halves. Oh no, yeah, one of the centre halves, and then it'd almost just work like that.
Yeah. I got
Walker would work as like a centre back, and then it'd shift round, almost like they do with City.
Yeah.
We spoke about Phil Foden and Palmer, didn't we? About if they can play together. What do you think Gareth Southgate will do? Like we've said what we want and we'd like, but do you think he'll put Phil Foden and Palmer together? Because I can't see him doing it.
I'm not sure he will. I think
he'll go 2 pivots, whoever we're playing.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, it's so different when you say, "What would I pick? What would you pick?" But then when you actually put your Southgate hat on and say, "What would he pick?" I think he'll go 2 pivots because even the fact that he done that in both friendlies tells you that that's how he wants to play. Otherwise, Iceland was a good chance to say, "Let's see what it's like to just stick Rice on his own and free up that space." So I think he'll play 2 pivots, which means a forward gets sacrificed. I don't see it being Saka. I don't see it being Foden. So Palmer probably gets sacrificed in that sort of team where he's playing 2 pivots, unless he's asking Bellingham to play really as a pivot. But I can't see that happening anymore. I know he did that at the last tournament. He did that at the World Cup, but he's a different player now, isn't he? Like,
I think he knows he'll get crucified by the fans if he plays him deep.
That as well, it's like
not going to be worth it.
And rightly so. I'll be honest. Like as much as he can do a job there, he's shown for Real Madrid that he can play as a 9. I'm not saying go and play him as a 9, but okay, someone like that, you don't then just bring him back and say, "Cool, go and hold hands with Rice." Like, he needs to be a bit more free. And if Foden wasn't in the picture, he'd be the 10. You'd be building the team around him as a 10, as right behind Kane, anyways. So, I don't know. I know he will play 2 pivots.
We'll play Bellingham in the 10 and Foden out on the left. That's what I think.
I can see that happening. I can see that happening.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Would you reckon in terms of Luke Shaw? You know, England have famously brought players to tournaments in recent history where they've sort of not been fit coming in, and they've tried to get them back fit mid-tournament and then chuck them in. Do you think that's the right thing? Because it'll be Luke Shaw. I think he's due to come back either two or three games in.
Yeah. The thing is, we've got Trippier starting at left back. He's not a left back; it's a right back. So I think they were forced into keeping him in and around the squad just because it's like, okay, who else do we have as a left back option? I think if 3 games down the line, 4 games down the line, for whatever reason, Trippier can't play or he's struggling or whatever, then it's like, okay, at least you have Luke Shaw there. Or if Trippier needs to come off, Luke Shaw can come on for 20 minutes as an out left back. I think that was probably the big thinking and saying, okay, he's got to be around. I don't see him playing a huge part in terms of starting games.
Not at all. Not during the whole thing. Do you not think they'll try and get him like 20 here and then? Yeah,
because he's been out for so long. He's been out for so long. You can't underestimate how hard it is to not just get fit. It's one thing to get the injury behind you. It's another thing to now get up to tournament speed. Like, this is the highest level of football. And Trippier's more than capable. If you had someone there that wasn't capable, it was like he's literally just a placeholder. Then it's like, okay, as soon as Shaw's fit, he's got to get straight back in the team. But it's my opinion, I don't see him getting fit come the second game and then by the last 16, for example, taking Trippier's shirt, unless Trippier's really struggled for some reason.
Yeah, I agree, mate. He's there as a backup. And like you said, you've got to bring someone. We've also got players like Konsa and Gomez who can go there as well.
Exactly. I was going to say that. So
I think they'll try and get him like 20 minutes maybe during these first game, like the group games, depending on the situation in the table. And then they've got him a few minutes under his belt and he can be an actual serious option.
Exactly. I think it's the second or third game. It's about giving him some type of minutes so that, okay, he's back. And then he becomes an option, because until he's got some minutes, he's not an option really. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think that's probably the approach.